Okay, so I'm doing all the brakes on the Jeep today, and this is something I've not seen covered very well or clearly on any other video, and as I'm doing all mine I thought I'd just do a very quick video on this. So if your Jeep handbrake is sort of seized up and you've got no real handbrake power at all, and you have a similar system on your Jeep, and I know it was certainly fitted to some of the Wranglers, we have here, there's two plates here, and they should rotate on each other. But what happens is, and when I take them apart I'll show you, but I just want to show you what it is in situ at the moment. Now this one I have freed off a bit, but I'm taking it apart again because I've got to replace the rubber. There's a rubber boot behind the back and I tore that when I took this out, so I've got replacements to fit. Yeah, one plate should slide on top of the other, and if my able assistant just activates the handbrake for me. So that's what they should do. So if you just keep activating that, Tom, for me, up and down. So that's what they should do, and what you'll find is, thank you, Tom, what you'll find is that these will actually just rust and seize together. So I'm going to show you, I'm not going to show you the strip down of the wheels. There's lots of videos you can see for taking the wheel off and the hub and all that kind of stuff. I'm just going to concentrate on this bit here because this is the crux of the problem. So once I get that out, I'll show you what the two plates are. Now the other side we haven't done yet, we haven't taken that apart at all, and I know that's seized. Well, let's get this out. I can show you what the two plates are and how they're supposed to go, and then when we do the other wheel, we'll show you what yours will probably look like and what you'll have to do to free them. So here are the two plates. There's one there, which is the bottom plate, and there's one there which is the top plate, sits across it, and what you can see there, where they sit on top of each other, it literally just welds itself onto the plates, onto each of the plates with rust. Now, well, the problem with that is, and this, you're going to have a battle here, I assure you. The problem you have is to get those out, you have to unhook. That's the top plate, that's what it hooks onto there. And the problem is that where they're welded shut, getting this off, getting the cable off there can be a right pain. So you're going to have to fight it, and it might be a problem. Now there should be a rubber boot on the back of there. As you can see, we're kind of looking upside down, but you get the gist. There should be a rubber boot, and you can partially see what's left of one there, and I tore it trying to get this thing out, so I've bought some replacements, which is why I've got to take this side apart again, because I've got to refit that boot. So I've just pulled this out of here. It sits, if you can, I don't know if you can just see under there, if you come to the side, Tom, there's a shelf it sort of sits on, and because it gets seized up, this whole thing is a complete nightmare to get out. I just kind of bruted it out, to be honest. Probably the correct way would be to release the tension off of here from the handbrake end so you can get the cable off. I'll leave it to you to decide how you want to do that. Now essentially this is what we're looking at here, this assembly here. Now what happens is that, or what should happen is, when you pull the handbrake, that pulls that, and that should do that. But what you'll find is that this whole thing will be rusted solid. Was going to cut my losses and just try and find these two arms as fresh assembly to just replace it, but I couldn't actually find both halves anywhere. So when you actually do manage to get them apart, and trust me, there will be lots of swearing and probably tears and frustration, but they will come apart. My best suggestion to you is going to be, get the thing off, which is what I did. I've only left it on here so you can see how it goes on. Is get some mole grips, clamp on there, clamp on the other side, soak the thing in WD-40 or PB Blast or whatever your penetrating fluid of choice is. Just keep doing that, and then you're going to have to get your grips on it and just wiggle and move it around and everything else. Eventually, and by eventually I mean after half a day, it will come apart. But these two, I mean, I've cleaned these up somewhat, you can see, but I didn't re-grease this because I knew I was pulling it apart because of the rubber boot. But it's the top of here and the underneath of here just literally rust solid in some configuration wherever the handbrake has sort of decided it's going to seize up. So once you take them off, you can wire wheel them all up, perhaps put a little bit of copper slip on there to stop them from doing it again. I mean, bearing in mind this assembly probably hasn't been apart for the best part of, I don't know, 15-17 years. It's 2003 Jeep, so yeah, who knows how long it's been since this was apart. Okay, next problem. This is the rubber boot that I need to replace, and how that fits on is from behind this plate which holds the brake shoes and so forth. That then slips over there like that, and then the plate comes over the front, and on the old one you can just see there these bits here of the rubber boot. I'm having to take these 4 bolts off here, which haven't seen the light of day on the thread for 17 years, to get this plate off. So just soaked in a bit of WD-40 penetrating fluid to hopefully get those off. If you live in a lovely dry climate like I don't know, Arizona, somewhere like that, and you think, wow, look at the amount of rust on that vehicle, yes, I salute you. These are properly on there. I mean, this one here, let's try using the right spanner side for a start. That might be helpful rather than take all my knuckles off. That is properly on there. So I'm going to heat it up. Now there's obviously axle seals around here and stuff, so I'm not going to heat it up a lot. I just need it, I have WD-40'd it for a little bit, and it's worked fine on the other two. I wouldn't advise you do this, it's down to you whether you do it, but frankly I've had enough, so I'm bringing out the big guns, literally, heat gun. And I'm just going to warm that nut up to the point where it expands just enough so it will release, and then once that's off I can clean all these threads up. If necessary, chase out the bolts, although I don't think it will be necessary, because I need to really, I just need to release that plate forward to be able to get the rubber thing on. So here we go. There we go, just a little bit of heat, doesn't need to be a lot, and that'll release that bolt so you can get them off. Right, so we've got all the bolts off now. I've had to get a bit of a pry bar behind because of this, the plate was rusted to the caliper carrier, but now we can move that forward. And if you just have a look there, you see now that is on there is where this stupid rubber, this thing lives. So we can replace, I'm going to clean all this up. It's cup of tea time now, but I'm going to clean all that up, put the new rubber in, clean the threads back up on here because they were horrible, warmed the nuts up, got them off lovely. So now it's going to be the reassembly of just the handbrake. I think we've been at this for about best part of an hour and 20 minutes just to get it, you know, and I'd partially done this previously to get that whole assembly done. And this is the kind of thing that you're dealing with brakes, especially, you know, they're going through all the dirt and the mud and the wet, and if you live in a country in the UK like I do where it's moist and they use salt on the road, and I live on the coast as well, so that doesn't really help. This is the kind of battle that you're going to have. Alright, so here we are on the other side that we haven't taken. We've just taken the wheel and the brake shoes off and all that assembly, and these are the 2 plates that should be moving. And if my able assistant activate, yeah, so you can see they're not moving separately, they're welded together with rust, and we're going to have to pry them out, so let the fun begin. Okay, so I've got this side out and I've cleaned it up a bit, and I shall copper grease that so it's got a nice slide on there. Now I couldn't actually, I don't even remember how I managed to get the other side out. What I did do though to get this side out, I've just got to the end of my tether, to be honest, is I've got a punch punched it out through there, and then that separated the two of them. So that might be something you want to contemplate, is to get a punch and punch it through from the middle, and that might be able to get out. That's where you hook onto the handbrake cable at the back there. It's a terrible design, Jeep. Have a word with yourself, but there we go. So I hope that helps someone, because I've not been able to find that on YouTube when I was having a look about. So yeah, if you've got any other tips for doing these handbrakes, then please put them in the comments below. And once I've finished doing this and putting the new caliper back on, we'll be on to the next video, hopefully. Bye for now.